I'm Marty DeBerardinis, and I work for health. I'm the Director of Medicines Evaluation for AstraZeneca. I lead a group in the US and the UK that's responsible for taking molecules that come out of discovery, potential new drugs, and turning them into actual products that patients can actually take. So the physical product sort of comes out of our group. We've always been a company that supported people doing volunteer work. Angel Flight's a nonprofit organization that's nationally based. And basically what they try to do is ensure that every patient who has a medical need and is financially needed to get to distant medical care can be provided with free air transportation. Putting together pilots and patients and putting them together, essentially, to make these flights happen. But once we get to altitude, the airplane's trimmed up, we're cruising along, we're in radar control, then I relax and usually open up a conversation with them purposely, because what else are you going to do for 2 hours while the landscape slides by? They're developing a perspective sometimes during a flight. It's away from the concerns, and sometimes they start to relax a little bit, and sometimes it catches them by surprise. And they'll think about what's happening to them. And we'll have some interesting conversations. One particular flight that I had, a memorable flight I had, was a mom with a 7-year-old little girl that had been burned over a large percentage of her body. It was a couple months after she'd been out of the hospital, but she was still wrapped up in gauze and still quite a bit of pain and under a lot of medication. On this particular flight, the mom shared with me in quite graphic terms how the accident, in fact, was her fault, and she was having a really difficult time getting over the guilt of that she had done this to her daughter. What was really interesting about that is I had experienced being burned as a child too, so I was able to relate that to her. She needed sort of that emotional support as much as she needed to get from point A to point B on that particular flight, and I was glad that I had some experience that I could share with her, so it was cool. So sometimes it helps just to have an ear. And I would say I used to think this was all about flying people from point A to point B, but what I've learned is all of these guys have a story, and that's part of the kick that I get out of doing it.